Jensen Huang did not grow up dreaming of becoming one of the most powerful figures in technology. He did not come from wealth, privilege, or Silicon Valley connections. He did not arrive in the United States speaking fluent English or understanding the culture he was stepping into. And when his journey began, there were no guarantees that it would even work. What Jensen Huang did have was discipline, patience, and an ability to endure discomfort longer than most people. This is the story of how an immigrant kid quietly built the company that now powers much of the world's artificial intelligence. Jensen Huang was born in 1963 in Tainan, Taiwan. His early childhood was relatively stable, but his parents believed that greater opportunities existed elsewhere. Like many families in the 1970s, they saw education in the United States as a path to a better future. When Jensen was still very young, his parents made a difficult choice. They sent Jensen and his older brother to the United States ahead of them so the boys could attend school. The plan was temporary. The reality was harder than expected. Jensen was enrolled at Oneida Baptist Institute, a boarding school in Kentucky. His parents believed it was a traditional prep school. It was not. Oneida was strict and heavily focused on discipline. Jensen has said in interviews that students were required to clean bathrooms, do manual labor, and follow rigid rules. He was far from home, surrounded by unfamiliar customs, and struggling with English. For a child, it was an intense environment, but it forced him to adapt quickly. Those early years left a mark. Jensen learned how to follow structure, take responsibility, and endure pressure without complaint. He has often spoken about how that experience shaped his work ethic later in life. Eventually, Jensen reunited with his parents, who had settled in Oregon. The transition was not instant or easy, but for the first time, he had stability again. At school, Jensen began to stand out academically. Math and science made sense to him in a way language sometimes did not. Equations were clear. Problems had rules. Solutions were earned. He focused deeply on his studies and developed a reputation for being steady and reliable rather than flashy or loud. That focus carried him to Oregon State University, where he studied electrical engineering. Later, he earned a master's degree in the same field from Stanford University. He was not chasing fame, he was building a foundation. After graduating, Jensen worked at companies like LSI Logic and Advanced Micro Devices. These were solid, respected roles in the semiconductor industry. Many people would have stayed comfortable. Jensen did not. He believed there was a gap in computing that others were overlooking. At the time, graphics chips were mostly seen as tools for gaming and visual display. They were not considered central to serious computing. Jensen saw something different. He believed that graphics processors could be used to handle many calculations at the same time. This idea, known as parallel computing, would later become essential to artificial intelligence. In 1993, at the age of 30, Jensen Huang co-founded NVIDIA with Chris Malachowski and Curtis Preem. The vision was ambitious, the odds were high, the market was crowded, and the early years were rough. NVIDIA's first products struggled. Some chips failed to perform, others arrived too late. Money was tight, and competition was fierce. By the late 1990s, NVIDIA was close to collapse. Jensen made one of the most difficult decisions of his career. He canceled nearly all of the company's existing projects and redirected resources into a single new chip architecture. It was a massive risk. If it failed, the company would likely not survive. The gamble worked. NVIDIA stabilized and began to grow, especially in the gaming market. But Jensen was already thinking far beyond games. Years before artificial intelligence became a mainstream topic, Jensen began investing heavily in tools that allowed developers to use GPUs for more than graphics. In 2006, NVIDIA launched CUDA, a software platform that made GPUs accessible for general-purpose computing. At the time, many people did not understand why this mattered. Jensen did. He believed that researchers, scientists, and engineers would eventually need enormous computing power to process complex models and data. GPUs were uniquely suited for that task. For years, NVIDIA stayed patient. The company grew steadily but quietly. Wall Street did not always see the vision. Competitors dismissed the focus on software and developer ecosystems. Jensen stayed the course. The rise of deep learning changed everything. As artificial intelligence research advanced, demand for GPU computing exploded. Data centers, universities, and tech companies all turned to NVIDIA hardware and software. When large language models and AI systems entered the public spotlight, NVIDIA was already deeply embedded in the infrastructure behind them. The world suddenly realized that much of modern AI ran on NVIDIA chips. Jensen Huang, once a quiet engineer, became a central figure in the future of technology. Jensen is known for his calm presence, direct communication, and high standards. He expects clarity, preparation, and accountability. NVIDIA employees often describe the culture as demanding but deeply focused on long-term thinking. He is also known for his black leather jacket, which has become part of his public identity. Jensen has said he values consistency and simplicity. Decisions are easier when fewer things are changed without reason. That mindset reflects his broader approach to leadership. Do fewer things, do them well, stay focused. Jensen Huang's story is not about sudden success or overnight breakthroughs. It is about patience and endurance. He spent years preparing for a future most people could not yet see. He made long-term bets and waited while others chased short-term wins. His early life taught him how to adapt. His education taught him how to think. His career taught him how to wait. That combination turned NVIDIA into one of the most important companies of the modern era. Jensen Huang did not arrive as a disruptor shouting for attention. He arrived quietly, learned carefully, and built patiently. From a young immigrant navigating a foreign system to the leader of a company shaping the future of artificial intelligence, his journey shows us the power of discipline, focus, and long-term vision. He did not rush, he endured, and when the world was finally ready, his company was already there. If stories like this remind you that success isn't instant, perfect, or easy, subscribe to the channel. We tell the real stories behind power, wealth, and ambition, not the headlines, but the human journeys that built them. New wealth stories every week.